Introduction. Finances are no easy feat. The financial process is filled with expectations, skills, and tricks to earn more money. Now that we are all entering the future, matters such as cryptocurrency and NFTs have risen to the surface. Terms such as brokers, charts, portfolios, budgets, credit, and debit tend to already overwhelm many people, as nothing is ever fully explained. However, where do we start? What do we do? How can you build yourself a successful credit score as a teenager, and how can you start investing? How do you start working with crypto if you are interested in it? Is it as dangerous as people make it to be? This book is all about finances and how to build yourself a successful financial foundation to take with you to adulthood. Whether you're a teenager or simply beginning with finance, you are in the perfect place. Steering clear of technical jargon and formalities, this book simplifies finances and provides a simple, step-by-step guide to investing and trading. You don't need to have any prior knowledge of any of these subjects. All you need is some motivation and a little bit of courage to journey into a field that most people don't dare to go into. However, finances and credit scores are important. You always hear it, but now it is time to understand why and apply it in your everyday life. You will also learn how to set up a proper budget, how to tackle debt, and how to set up a proper portfolio. These are all foundational topics within the financial world. Budgeting is perhaps one of the most critical components of working with your own money, and portfolios are critical when planning for investments. You need the right guide to walk you through everything. By the end of the day, you will have a solid knowledge of the financial basics. You will understand everything you need to know about credit scores, and even how to start trading and investing. This book will also expand your cryptocurrency world, and perhaps you will finally begin to understand the news articles and conversations on investing that you hear around you. Don't hesitate, and come with me on this incredible financial journey, walking through the basics as well as the futuristic technology that has taken the world by storm. Chapter 1. Understanding Cryptocurrency and How to Invest. The term Bitcoin started to pop up in conversations a couple of years back, but very few people were truly aware of what it was and what it could do. Now, cryptocurrency has risen to the ranks of national headlines, becoming a trillion-dollar market industry that has had people reeling in both shock and delight. Many people have had their doubts about crypto, yet time and again it has survived and is likely to remain relevant in the future. However, cryptocurrency is the one topic very few people discuss in a straightforward manner. The majority of people still do not understand what cryptocurrency is and how it can affect the future. It holds much potential to invest and become an active part of the virtual community. For anyone interested in investing in this potential future, making payments via cryptocurrency, or becoming a part of the crypto trading and mining world, you will need a proper introduction to this virtual coin. Cryptocurrency Explained. A cryptocurrency is a form of virtual currency. It is electronic money, and no physical condition or design exists. The only reason there is a picture of a Bitcoin is purely because an artist designed the coin to give people a picture of a coin made of code. A cryptocurrency is a form of exchange. You can make payments with it, or you can receive it. You can buy it on exchange platforms and invest in it. However, it shares a few key differences in comparison to fiat currencies. What are fiat currencies? They are the money that is regulated and backed up by the government. Classic examples of fiat currencies would be the U.S. dollar, the South Korean won, and the Indian rupee. Fiat currencies can be worked on an electronic platform, typically within banks and other financial institutions, but they all represent coins and notes that physically exist and have been printed out. The government controls how many coins are created and how many new notes are printed and released into the country. A cryptocurrency is purely an electronic form of money and is built on a decentralized system called the blockchain. That means that no single individual or small group of people has control over the coin. Instead, a vast audience, typically miners who work on blockchain, has a fair say and role to play in the direction the currency happens to go. They are scattered all around the globe, making it a distributed system. The first cryptocurrency was designed by the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008 and 2009. He released Bitcoin to the world, intending to create an electronic payment system based on trust and transparency. He built it on a digital ledger called blockchain, a system that still seems to puzzle the majority of the world today. Blockchain explained. Blockchain is known as a distributed ledger, yet those words in themselves cannot fully describe everything that blockchain does. Blockchain is complicated because of the amount of information it holds and the tasks it performs. Once you know how everything works and put the pieces together, you will have a complete understanding of blockchain. So, there is absolutely no reason for you to be afraid of it. First, what exactly is a ledger? If you have done accounting and basic finance, you will know that it is a form of record for any financial transactions. No business would run adequately without a formal structure of records. So now, understanding that blockchain is a digital record, you need to understand its goal to understand everything else. Blockchain was designed to create a trust system, not between the buyer or seller, but with a system that cannot be cheated. Imagine there is a house that someone owns. To determine the house's actual value, there is a book of records. You can call this a ledger. The owner of the house writes down all the transactions that occurred. For example, renovated the porch, 2009. Exterminated roach infestation, 2010. Fixed chimney, 2011. Gas leak repair, 2012. Imagine these are all transactions that have occurred within the house. However, when you receive the book, these are the records you find. Renovated the porch, 2009. Replaced the locks, 2010. Fixed chimney, 2011. Gas leak repair, 2013. If you take a careful look, you will notice 3 inconsistencies. Not only has information been removed, but information has been added. Naturally, this means you cannot trust the owner to keep accurate records or the locks of the house. This is where a middleman typically gets involved. It is usually a financial institution or a real estate agency. However, the middleman is susceptible to bribes, error, or making mistakes. It means that despite having an intermediary, the records are still not 100% reliable. This is where blockchain steps in. Imagine the owner making a transaction on the house using the blockchain system. The first transaction will be stored in a block of information. If it is the first block on the blockchain, it would be called a Genesis block. This information is securely encrypted and is given a key. This key is unique, however. Any information that is changed within the block completely changes the design of the key as well. Up comes the next transaction, forming the second block of information. However, a copy of the first key is also stored inside the second block before the second block's key is made. This means that if the first block's information gets changed, so does its key. Therefore, it implies that the second block's key will also change. Then, when the third transaction appears and a third block gets formed, it has a copy of the second key, thus linking all the information in a chain. However, that is not all there is to this. There are hundreds to even thousands of copies of this string of information synced together in different computers, commonly called nodes, all across the world. Therefore, if a few copies of the blockchain were changed, but the majority, 51% of the other copies, remain the same, it would automatically change the information that had been tampered with back to the original data. So, blockchain is not necessarily impossible to hack, but it makes it easy to determine whether it has been tampered with. For this reason, blockchain is known for being tamper-proof. The more popular a blockchain becomes, the more copies of it exist, which means the more secure a system would be. This doesn't explain the entirety of blockchain, but unless you are planning on becoming a miner, you do not need to know everything. Understanding the basic mechanics of how it works is enough to allow you to work with crypto and NFTs, so do not stress too much. You don't have to build one yourself. You just need to work with it. Bitcoin Explained. Perhaps now you can understand why Bitcoin took off so well. Using the first original design of both the blockchain and the cryptocurrency, Satoshi Nakamoto created a design with a peer-to-peer cash system. What does peer-to-peer mean? It means you can make payments without any middleman involved and with no stress of having the transaction hacked or diverted when it takes place. It was launched in 2009, and the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto remains unknown. It offers lower transaction fees than making payments with banks or other companies and is known to work a lot faster. A person who owns Bitcoins owns a set of private and public digital keys. It happens to be a string of numbers and letters, encrypted information. The public key acts like a bank account number and would account for fiat currency. The private key acts as the key card to access your account and make use of the money inside. The government or companies do not control Bitcoin, and it is called a cryptocurrency because of its use of crypto to remain safe. The transactions created on the platform are public. The user who made the transactions are anonymous and have triggered a massive launch of many other cryptocurrencies called altcoins, which are cryptos that are not Bitcoin. However, Bitcoin is still number one in popularity and value. It controls almost half of the total crypto market cap, according to CoinMarketCap, which has been tracking the prices. How long it will remain in the top spot is unknown, but it is still the ruling crypto for now. Altcoins Explained. Altcoins refers to any other kind of cryptocurrency that is not Bitcoin. Ethereum ranks second place in the overall crypto market, and there are about 17,000 other different kinds of altcoins out there in the world for people to use. The majority of altcoins are built on a similar blockchain system but with various upgrades and designs. For example, Ethereum allows for smart contracts, an automated contract that releases funds once the terms of the contract are fulfilled. However, if you are new to finances and to trading and crypto, it would be best to take a pass on the majority of these coins until you have gained some more experience. Once you have earned this experience, you will still probably decide to avoid most of these coins because of their volatile nature. Volatility refers to how many changes are made and how predictable they are. The more volatile an item is, the quicker it changes. Their value tends to bounce up and down like a child in a bouncy castle with cryptocurrencies. If you are trying to predict which direction this kid will be jumping toward, you might as well give up now. However, with some logic and understanding of the child itself, perhaps you may be able to make some educated guesses. Cryptocurrency works this way very much. Altcoins and Bitcoin are met with much skepticism for this very reason, but as time flies by, more and more experts have concluded that crypto is here to stay. Before we dive any deeper into cryptocurrency and trading, we need to take a look at your foundation of finances and understanding of trading to make sure you make the absolute best decision for yourself, including matters such as investing in crypto. Chapter 2: Understanding the Basics of Finance. Before going into trading and investing, you need to make completely sure you understand your own personal finances. It is an important foundation, and the majority of people lack the knowledge needed to both survive and thrive in the financial sector. When you want to invest, especially as a beginner, having a good handle on your finances can allow you to avoid rookie mistakes, work out your profits and losses, and build a good credit score for benefits in both large loans and interest on credit cards. Finances 101. What is finance? It is the management of money. Finances and bookkeeping work hand in hand, where people need to figure out how much profit they make and how much expenses they gather. It is no use going around and believing that you are perfectly fine with your funds, only to end up overspending. In order to master finance yourself, you need to look at 12 basic categories. Each one is as important as the next. Finance topics everyone needs to master. Understanding credit cards and interest rates. Do you already have a credit card, or are you still planning to get one in the future? Or do you believe credit cards are a great evil and should be avoided? Considering that credit cards have a great impact on your credit score, you should not avoid credit cards, but you need to understand how they work. Here are some of the top tips when getting yourself a credit card. Having a security deposit allows easier access for a credit card. If you're having a little trouble getting approved for your first credit card, then you can try getting a secured credit card. You will need to put down a cash deposit to open your account, normally equal to what your credit limit is going to be. It does mean that if you fall behind on payments, you stand the risk of losing your deposit. Your very first credit card can either help you build good credit or ruin it. Remember that every month the issuer will be reporting your credit card activity to the credit bureaus, which in turn helps to form the foundation of your overall credit score. Late payments always affect your score negatively, and so does maxing out your card. A good rule of thumb would be to keep your balance under 30% of the available credit you have at all times. Staying well below your credit limit leaves room for you to breathe and easily pay off your debts. A small debt is certainly more feasible than a maxed-out credit card with interest. There are always bound to be rates and fees in the credit card company. There is the annual fee, charged on a yearly basis, the late fees, charged if you are late in the repayment of your debt, and the foreign transaction fees, whenever making payments outside of your country. Credit card fees should be avoided. You just need to focus on finding an excellent starter card, paying on time, avoiding unnecessary foreign transactions, avoiding balance transfers, and cash advances. You can also avoid credit card interest. It doesn't matter how high your credit limit or interest is. You will not be paying a cent of interest if you happen to fully repay your credit card. It means you need to follow one simple rule. Don't spend money you don't have. This is accomplished by forming a proper budget for yourself. Another option is to simply pay more than the minimum payment due to keep your account in good standing. The reality of credit cards is that if you decide to pay less now, you will be paying far more later. Do not play the late game when it comes to your credit cards. Make payments ahead of time if you are scared you might forget. Reaching your total credit limit can actually take a bite out of your score too. Focus on staying within 30% of your total credit limit at all times. If you do get rejected for a credit card application, the issuer will explain to you exactly why, and you can learn from it. It may be inconvenient, but there is so much paperwork and red tape that you shouldn't expect to get everything right all in one go. Budgeting basics. Covered more in Chapter 5, budgeting is the annoying tool many people don't like to use, but you absolutely need it to save you from a financial crisis and other issues. It can allow you to save up for your goals, understand how much you can invest, and save you from getting into trouble with your credit card. Budgeting is not seen as necessary until you reach the point where you crash because you did not have a plan or have control over your income, debts, expenses, and investments. How to invest. As is focused on in Chapter 6, investing your money is not something you should feel too intimidated to do. Whether it is in normal stocks and shares or taking a walk through cryptocurrency, learning to place your money into investments is essential in building up your wealth as well as preparing for future retirement. Debt management. We are taking a look at this in Chapter 4, but debt is the one factor that has sunk so many people to the ground. It can be matters such as student loans, mortgages, or even credit cards. Learning how to work with debt, and even avoid it from day one, is going to spare you a whole lot of pain and grief. Understanding how to get out of debt quickly can clear your path toward better financial health as well as improved mental health, since debts have a way of bringing additional anxiety and stress into your life. Building up an emergency fund. I know investments get mentioned first and then savings are mentioned. How much money are you going to have to put aside? Emergency funds should be considered as the quick cash for, you may have guessed, emergencies. Investments overcome inflation and build up your wealth in the long run, but many times getting your hands on that cash you set aside may take a couple of days or up to a month. What is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is a bank account that has a certain amount of money set aside for any kind of large or unexpected payments. It could be caused by unemployment, medical expenses, car fixes, and even home or equipment repairs, like accidentally spilling water over your laptop. It is a safety hedge to set up in order to avoid climbing into deep debt with credit cards or high-interest loans. It is especially important to have an emergency fund if you already have some initial debt and want to avoid having to borrow more. How much should you save up? You should start off where you can and work your way up. The ideal amount you should aim for is to have enough money to cover 3 to 6 months' worth of the total expenses that you have. If you are a freelancer or only work for a seasonal time frame, then this becomes especially important. Finally, you want to place your emergency fund into a savings account that allows you easy access and, if possible, a higher interest rate. However, this account needs to be separated from the bank account you use on a daily basis, too. Lastly, it may seem like there is a lot you will need to learn, but mastering these concepts is not really as tough as you might think. Just take one category at a time and focus on the basics. You are not going to become a financial planner overnight. Much like anything else in this world, finances are a skill. Remember not to rush, to be patient, and to take your time. It may be a little bit of a struggle at first, but looking back, you will be happy you took the time to master these concepts. All these factors will roll into your credit score, portfolio, and general financial well-being. Chapter 3. Understanding your credit score and how to build it up. The credit score is a highly discussed topic amongst many people trying to sort out their finances. They know that the best way to get the top deals with financial institutions, especially with loans and mortgages, is to have a good score. Seems like, regardless of your age, you will always be marked and ranked for something. When it comes to finances, you are ranked on how much of a risk you are. Financial companies want to make money off of you. Debts and loans are one key tactic used alongside the interest rates you have to pay. There is just one little problem. If you find yourself incapable of paying back the debt, the company is then going to be making a loss from you. If you understand the basics of business, you can also understand why companies go out of their way to reward people with higher and more reliable credit scores and avoid giving any indication that their business will be suffering a loss. This could be by shooting up the interest rates to cover cost, refusing a loan application, or demanding a quicker repayment. Either way, your credit score will affect every large transactional decision in your life. Credit score explained. So, what is a credit score? A credit score is a prediction of the probability of you paying back your loan in time. It makes use of a scoring model from your overall credit report in order to create the necessary credit score. Some of the primary factors in your credit score include new applications of credit, current unpaid debt, payment history, available credit used, debt collections, foreclosure, or bankruptcy applications. The credit score number would normally rank between 300 and 850 to depict the creditworthiness of the customer. Naturally, the higher the score, the more potential you happen to have. The majority of lenders make use of FICO, otherwise known as Fair Isaac Corporation. There are other systems for scoring, but FICO does happen to be the most popular. People who have a credit score below 640 are considered to be subprime borrowers. Basically, lenders will charge higher interest rates and a higher conventional mortgage to act as compensation for the extra risk they are taking on. The repayment terms will also be shorter, and you might need a cosigner if you have a low credit score. A cosigner is someone who will take responsibility for the debt if you are incapable of paying. If your credit score is around 700, it is considered a good score. You may have lower interest rates and extended repayment terms. If your credit score is over 800, then it is considered excellent, and you will receive the top benefits that many financial institutions offer. Tip: keep in mind that just because you might have large sums of debt doesn't mean you have a bad credit score. The credit score determines your reliability to pay off your debts and whether or not you are a good investment. It may be odd to consider debt as an investment. However, a company is placing a large amount of money in your hands, and the interest fee acts like a dividend, which the business receives as profit in return. It is even possible for you to invest in different kinds of debt platforms. The average FICO score range works as follows: 300 to 579, poor; 580 to 669, fair; 670 to 739, good; 740 to 799, very good; 800 to 850, excellent. Understanding FICO ranking system. Taking a look at the most popular credit score system, FICO focuses on a few key factors. It is used by the majority of companies and borrowings to determine the risk someone poses and whether or not they should extend a person's credit. FICO is an analytics software company. They create products both for businesses and individuals to use and are best known for their credit scores. They are not solely based on the credit scores, however. FICO is used in almost 90% of the credit decisions within the U.S. This means that having a low score with FICO is highly likely to be a deal breaker for most companies. If you are not in America, however, it is best to take a look at what the most popular credit score system is in your region and see what factors determine their scoring methods. In order to achieve a high score from FICO, you are required to have a mix of credit accounts and keep up with the payments. Those who borrow should also show a level of restraint by keeping up with their credit card balances and staying well below their total limits. If one were to max out a credit card, pay late, or apply for new credit on a haphazard basis, it would not have a positive effect on your credit card. Here are the percentages of the different factors that they use in the calculation of your credit score. Payment history, 35%. Accounts owed, 30%. Length of credit history, 15%. Credit mix, 10%. New credit, 10%. Payment history. This has everything to do with the transactions on your credit card. Your credit reports will be showing line for line all the payments submitted and whether or not you have had any bankruptcy or debt collection. Considering it represents a good 35% of your overall credit score, a person should prioritize their overall payment history when trying to build up their credit score. Accounts owed. This would be the money that you owe to different financial companies, even the clothing merchant, if you are buying on credit. Just because you have a lot of debt doesn't mean it's going to extensively lower your credit score. Instead, FICO will be looking at the amount of credit you still have available. For example, someone who only owes $5,000 but fully maxed out their cards is going to have a lower score than someone who owes $50,000 but is not even close to 30% of the limit on their accounts. You will be surprised to see how much better their credit score will be. Length of credit history. The more history you have with credit, the better your score will be, but this is only determined if you have a moderately good credit history. Some people can still land good credit scores with a short history as long as their history points in a very positive direction. However, FICO does take into consideration how long an account has been opened. Credit mix. This would be the variety of credit accounts you have. In order to obtain some of the best credit scores, people will need to have a mix of installment loans, credit cards, signature loans, mortgages, and vehicle loans, all forms of retail accounts. New credit. This would be any new accounts that have been opened recently. If you have opened quite a few accounts over a certain period of time, it would lower your score as you are indicating that you are a bigger risk. Keep in mind that FICO scores are being updated and new versions are being released on a regular basis. In order to stay on top of your credit score, it would be wise to keep a lookout for any new updates and how it might affect your credit score, adapting what you can accordingly. During the start of your monetary life, where you might have to deal with student debts, vehicle loans, or just an overall struggling economy, chances are high that you're going to be struggling to keep your credit score perfect. Even so, there are a few tips and tricks you can use to help avoid a bad credit score, encourage a good score, and boost a low score if you've really been struggling on a financial level. How to avoid a bad credit score. The following are rules you need to follow in order to avoid the financial consequences which may come from breaking them. Pay your bills on a monthly basis and pay your bills on time. This is one of the biggest factors that will be determining your credit score. Missing payments, especially by 30 days or more, are a really bad reflection on you and paint you as a bigger risk than what you might actually be. It could simply have been something that you have forgotten. It even applies to accounts that might not be reported to credit bureaus, such as the electricity bill or your cell phone bill. If you fall behind, they will send a collection agency, which will be listed on your credit report. Even a library fine could affect your credit score. Understand the bills that will be reported to the credit bureaus. If you are really struggling for cash and know you won't be able to pay for everything, then you need to pay some bills and skip others. The best way to protect your credit score would be paying the bills that directly affect your credit report. As soon as you can, pay your other bills because you want to avoid a collection agency mark on your overall report. You can't ignore these bills forever. Do not pile up too much debt. The level of debt you have can greatly influence your overall credit score and specifically how your credit card balances are in comparison to the credit limits that you happen to have. Money management is the key to your credit score. You might make enough money, but bad management can cause most of the income and a good credit score to go down the drain. Don't forget that unclogging a bad credit score can be quite tough to do. Take careful consideration before taking on any new expenses, specifically those tied to contracts. You need to ensure that your ends can meet before buying a new car or upgrading the phone service you have. Minimize the variety of applications you can use with your credit card. This represents about 10% of your credit score. If you have too many inquiries from a variety of credit card applications, it means you have a lot of payments to keep up with. It, again, decreases your credit score as you are indicating that you are a higher risk. How to build a good credit score. Naturally, there are extra tips and tricks you can follow to improve your credit score. If you fell into certain pitfalls or underwent unexpected circumstances that affect your overall credit score, there are things you can do. Just because you have a low credit score does not mean you can never build it up again. First, let's take a look at you starting your journey from scratch. How do you start building a good credit score from the very beginning? When opening your very first credit card account, the card you apply for will be determined by if you have any form of initial history. If you are just starting off and have no history at all, you can get yourself a secured credit card. This is where you put down a deposit amount, which generally is the limit of your credit card. If you were to fail in payments, then you might lose your deposit. However, if you keep up with your bills, then you will be building up a good credit score. Otherwise, if you do have credit history, you will find companies that issue cards for people with good credit scores, medium credit scores, and bad credit scores. Naturally, the benefits offered and the fees arranged will vary. The worse your credit score is, the higher the interest rate you will need to pay. What do you do if you happen to have a poor credit score? What are some steps you can take in order to get yourself back on track? First, following the rules mentioned above and focusing on paying off your debt as quickly as possible is one of the best routes to take for yourself. Some other options include: you can ask your friends or family to become an authorized user, especially if you're having trouble getting back on track. You can ask them to consider credit piggybacking, which allows you to make use of the primary user's positive balance. The best part is that you can tell your friends or family that they should not even give you a card or an account number. All you need is for the credit reports to increase your overall credit score. You need to keep an eye on your credit report for any errors. Errors can negatively impact your score, and it isn't even your fault. However, no business is perfect, so it will be in your hands to correct any mistakes that appear on the report. It will quickly help to improve your credit. If you do not want to make much use of your credit cards, or you want to close an account, consider keeping it open for the sake of history and just tying a monthly subscription to it. Imagine you are boosting your credit score simply by paying for your Netflix account on your old credit card. Just be sure your account has enough funds, as it would be easy to forget about an account you don't often use. Now, if you are living with your parents, this won't count, but once you move out to your own home, you can get credit through rent and your utility payments. You can make use of rent reporting services to add your on-time rent payments to your credit report. Although rent payments are not considered within every scoring model, including FICO, a potential creditor might look at the credit reports, and considering utility payments are also a contributing factor, is how faithful you are in your payments, give you a chance despite having a slightly lower score. At the end of the day, you have to take full responsibility for the direction your credit score goes. Life has a knack of throwing unexpected expenses at you, but learning to overcome it while keeping your credit score as safe as possible is the key to safeguarding your financial well-being. Why is overspending on credit cards so addictive? Our society seems to thrive on spending and overspending, which in turn binds people to massive loads of credit card debt. It may seem obvious to not spend excessive amounts of money, yet why does it keep happening? Why are credit cards so addictive? Credit cards bring a lot of advantages to the table, such as convenience during shopping, payment of bills with ease, access to funds you could not have had otherwise. In this day and age, you can buy almost anything with a credit card, and cash is starting to become less and less popular. Fast food places even accept credit cards. You have access to both shopping in public and at home, where you can access things to buy from the luxury of your couch. You do not even have to go anywhere to buy clothes, food, games, and even gamble on an online website. So, even if you do not leave home, you are not completely safe from the temptations of spending money. Credit cards are addictive because it is so easy to spend money. You can struggle with impulse buying, emotional buying, or just fall into the temptation of buying the make and model of cell phone that all your other peers have, pushing you into greater debt. The best way to avoid falling into the credit card trap is by placing hedges and rules for yourself in the first place. When starting out with your credit card, allow someone else whom you trust to know your budget and keep you accountable on how much you spend. You want to cut the habit at the roots as quickly as possible. If it has developed, consider speaking to a debt counselor and a credit counselor. Debt counselors will help you deal with your credit card problems and create a plan to sort out your debts. A credit counselor will help you plan to work with the credit that you have. Getting outside help is ideal for anyone who really struggles but doesn't necessarily want to confide in friends or family. Financial issues are never an easy topic to talk about. However, in order to succeed in improving your credit score, you will have to learn how to properly deal with debt and why you should avoid it as much as possible. Chapter 4. Understanding Debt and Why You Should Do Your Best to Avoid It. The majority of the population cannot even start a career without sinking knee-deep into debt. It might not be possible to entirely avoid debt, especially when it comes to matters such as purchasing a house or your own vehicle. This is because most incomes do not allow for proper coverage of all your expenses and to quickly save up for paying off a large purchase. Paying off a house with your savings is just not something you hear for the majority. You might not be in that time of life to buy a house right now, but you may have student loans, vehicle loans, or even just debt from getting the necessary electronic equipment to work at home. However, if it is at all possible, it is recommended to avoid debt. If debt is not avoidable, then you need to know how to manage it to the best of your abilities. Debt 101. In simplest terms, debt occurs when someone borrows money from another person or company. Traditionally, many large companies borrow money in order to make large purchases, as do many individuals in order to be able to purchase items which they, under any other circumstances, could not afford. There is normally an arrangement made between the party borrowing the money and those who lend it out. This transaction comes with a due date when the money needs to be fully paid back and a monthly interest rate attached to it. The most common types of debt are loans, such as mortgages, personal loans, auto loans, credit card balances. When the term loan is mentioned, it is generally required for the borrower to fully repay the total of the loan by a specific day. Depending on the size of the loan, it could last a couple of months to a couple of years. For certain companies, a loan could even take a decade. Interest is also attached to the loan to be paid off on a monthly basis. This acts as an incentive to pay off the loan as quickly as possible. The longer a loan takes to pay off, the more interest and expense you end up paying in the long run. Why should you avoid debt? Why can borrowing money be so bad for you? So many people make use of loans and debts to improve their lifestyle and push them forward. Debt can be seen as the doorway to vacations, weddings, and even houses. People want to buy homes. They want to buy vehicles. However, their income just isn't enough to simply purchase a car after a year of saving. In fact, it might take a couple of years, and often people need a mode of transport a whole lot sooner than that. The demands between what a person needs to survive and work in comparison to what they are earning do not correlate, which leads to people taking out necessary loans in order to compensate for their lack of income. This is even true when it comes to purchasing a house. Some people are tired of renting and would like to invest in an asset that could both help in retirement as well as remove the need to move out within a month's notice, as can easily happen when renting. What can be so bad about lending money for that? Here are the top reasons why debt is bad for you and why you should always think twice before diving into a loan. First, debt helps you to spend more than you are actually capable of affording. Think about it this way. If you just walk into a shop with some cash at hand, you will only buy what you can afford. However, if you know that you can easily borrow money and walk into that shop with a credit card, suddenly spending more than what you originally planned is too easy. The allure of debt is that you can enjoy that emotional high of getting new things right here and right now. You simply do not have to wait to save. Despite the fact that debt costs money, it does feel free when you are swiping the card or busy signing the documents of the loan. However, you can guess that this is all an elaborate illusion, and you pay the price in the long run. The price is what you would call interest. The percentage of interest also depends a whole lot on how you are going to be paying. The higher the interest rate, the more you will be paying. The longer it takes you to pay off your loan, the more interest you are going to be paying. What seems to be a free deal may end up with double, if not triple, the costs. Yet, debts and credit cards feed into the mindset of instant gratification. You need to realize that debts are simply money taken from your future income. Each time you take out a loan or charge money from your credit card, you are only borrowing the money from what you intend to have in the future. You might even be expecting an increase in your income. However, you should not always count on the future. Debts are detrimental when things go wrong in your life and add to concerns when you are facing a financial crisis. Any debt that is high interest will result in you paying substantially more for an item. Example, if you were to buy $2,000 worth of furniture for your new house and only pay off 11%, the minimum payment, of the credit card within the month, you will be paying about $3,600 total once you have completed that debt. This means you are paying over $1,000 extra when taking on a credit card debt. On the other hand, setting aside $150 a month will allow you to purchase the furniture in around 14 to 15 months with minimal extra cost, even with inflation. Being in constant debt can keep you from having your financial freedom and reaching your goals. It might keep you in a job you don't like or stuck in other aspects of your life. Debts can also prevent you from owning a home. Because of your current debts, financial institutions may decide, understandably so, that you are not qualified for a mortgage. These debts could be student loans, vehicle loans, or a lot of credit card debt. It could really prevent you from moving forward and getting settled in the future. Debt can also affect your personal health. Debts are stressful, especially if you have large amounts of it and a limited income. It has even been shown to manifest in physical consequences, such as ulcers, migraines, depression, and even heart attacks. It can even hurt relationships in your life. You might need to borrow money from family and friends and be unable to pay them back. Although I do not believe it is altogether wrong to accept help if offered in a desperate situation, money can really cause a strain on relationships. You need to have an action plan in place to repay the money as quickly as possible. Either way, debts generally do not benefit you unless you have a plan to make the best use of the debts and repay them as quickly as possible. How to pay off existing debt. Despite debt having a negative impact, it is sometimes unavoidable. Medical fees, emergencies, and student loans are common reasons that people sink into debt. Their next step would be to grab a life raft and keep swimming to the debt-free shore. It takes time, endurance, and some careful strategies in order to conquer debt and move toward financial freedom. Having some debt doesn't necessarily limit your life, but having too much certainly can. Here are some strategies that could be useful. You should create a budget. You need to keep track of your income and expenses. A budget is one of the best ways to organize all your money in order to make sure that you manage to keep up with all your expenses. You should tackle the elephant in the room first. Basically, tackle the biggest expenses first, which is normally the debt with the highest interest rate tacked alongside it. For example, if you have a mortgage and a heap of credit card debt, it would still be wiser to pay off your credit card debt first before focusing on paying off the mortgage, although you still need to pay the monthly minimum. Start with debt A, then debt B and C, and carry on until all your debts are paid off. Another strategy, called the debt snowball, involves people paying off their smallest debt first and then moving on to the bigger debts. Paying off the smaller debts first is also easier than taking on large student loans and mortgages. It can also be a huge motivation, as seeing your debts getting checked off one by one can be empowering. It's freeing to see debts no longer listed in your name. If you struggle with your credit card, consider linking one or two subscriptions to the card and keeping it out of your wallet. This way, you can keep your credit card history active, but it will keep you from overspending at the shops. It may seem like quite an extreme decision, but until you get your finances under control, it is best to keep as far away from temptation as you can. Delete your credit card information on your personal online stores. It might not be enough to remove your credit card from your wallet if you keep spending money online. Therefore, deleting your card information on sites like Amazon can help to kick debt to the curb. Focus on changing your habits. Habits are the core reason why people are successful or not. Focusing on changing your bad habits, especially in regards to debt and spending, can really alter your overall financial health. Much like changing lifestyle habits to live physically and mentally healthier, there are habits you can take on financially too. It is important to understand your necessary expenses and focus on debt directly thereafter, as debt needs to take priority. If you can manage, pay more than the recommended minimum. The key is paying extra whenever you can to pay off debt at a faster rate. Check out the terms and conditions to see if there are any additional fees involved or penalties if you happen to make extra payments. Because yes, you get punished if you pay off your loans too quickly, as they cannot make a big enough profit via interest then. How to make money from debt. So, what is this talk about making money from debt? It is important to recognize that debt is not a completely evil thing. It is possible to even make money from debt if you make the right play. Using debt to buy a physical asset, such as a home, can really improve your financial well-being. Why? Because a house is an appreciating asset. If taken care of, it can keep growing in value. Once your debt has been paid, you have an asset which can be used for retirement or even rented out to provide a form of passive income. Very few people can afford to buy a house with cash, so this is one solid investment that may require a large debt initially. Debt can also fund your education, where you would not have been able to study otherwise, giving you all the necessary skills in order to work or keep growing in your career. With the skills you learn, you can excel at your profession or even consider starting your own business. However, education is expensive, and much like a house, it is likely that you will need to take out a loan in order to invest in yourself. Debts are often used to start a great business idea or purchase a franchise. If it happens to be a successful business, then you will simply end up repaying the debt and growing generational wealth, where your kids and other family members might even start to benefit from your business. Starting a business is tough, no doubt, and it does sometimes require a good amount of debt to get going. Finally, you can even invest in debts, such as bonds or peer-to-peer platforms, where you are on the other side as the lender. Naturally, there are still risks involved, but you can benefit from the interest made as people are repaying you. Although it would require some good investment strategies, budgeting, and a bit of funds, investments such as these are the one positive side to debts that are not really as acknowledged as they should be. So, although debt is often viewed in a negative light, it is not all bad. However, it is a good reminder that you need to have control over your debt and not allow debt to have control over you. One of the key ways to ensure this would be to set up a savvy and strategic budget to follow. Chapter 5. Understanding proper budgeting. Budgeting is basically a treasure map to your financial wealth. You survive the seas of expenses and sail across the different strategies to make sure you stay steady on your course. Budgeting is also a plan which requires you to have a top grasp on your overall income and expenses. It maps out the path you are going to take to either get out of debt, invest, or handle large loans, such as mortgages. Budgeting can literally be the one key step that determines your overall success. Budgeting 101. Budgeting is the specific process where you create for yourself a solid plan on how you are best going to spend your money. Why is budgeting so important? It helps you to reach your financial goals. Budgeting clears out the gutter of ideas, stops impulse shopping, and sets your eyes on the prize. Long-term goals on finances only work if you have a plan to reach them. Budgeting is a surefire way to reach those goals and keep track of your progress. It will be getting you closer to achieving your dreams. Budgeting makes sure that you don't happen to spend money that you do not actually have, which is one of the most common traps people fall into. Learning to live within your means is far more difficult with the aid of credit cards. However, learning how to create and stick to a budget can get you out of the precarious position of overspending. Oftentimes, because of my budget, I tend to wander in the shops, picking up everything I would like. However, because I have limited amounts of money, I tend to turn to debating what I want. I ask myself, do I really need this? Slowly but surely, I return the majority of the items until I have ones that remain inside my budget. Although this might not work best for you, it's just a reminder that you are never alone with this struggle. It aids your retirement plans. You might not be in that time of life where you want to think about wrinkles, old age, and the fact that you will one day have to depend on your savings to keep you afloat. However, budgeting and planning for retirement is going to save you a lot of distress and problems in the future. Budgeting helps in preparing for emergencies. Budgeting emergency savings is the key to having some cash flow for when things go wrong. It really is not a matter of if, but when, whether it be getting sick or accidentally injured, to even potentially facing family turmoil, death, and other serious issues. Having an emergency fund will be a great helping hand during incredibly difficult times. Budgeting will bring to light any and all bad spending habits you might have. It forces you to take a close look at all your spending habits and allows you to correct them if need be. For example, I know that I have a serious problem of purchasing too many pens, which is reflected on my receipts to the stationery store. It might seem small, but keeping track of every penny is really worth your while. Budgeting can allow for better sleep as it reduces your overall concern on how you will be paying your bills. A reduction in stress improves your overall health and well-being. Tips you need to know when working with a budget. Okay, so now you understand why you need a budget, but how exactly do you go about making one? Everyone has their own method of making a budget, and as long as it tracks all your transactions successfully, it shouldn't be a problem, right? Well, yes, but that still doesn't help you make one. Understanding the budgeting basics. First, you need to have the budgeting basics. You know what a budget is, but where do you start? You start with your income. You want to determine just how much you're going to make this month. It generally just requires you to take a peek at your pay stub. If you are married and sharing your finances, then you will have to include the income of your spouse. Once you have expanded your income by investing or having a side hustle, then you will need to add all that income as well. What if you are a freelancer? In that case, focus on the law of averages, where you take a look at the income you have earned over the past year and make a calculation of your monthly average. This can give you a baseline for when you are working out your budget. If it works out to be less or more, then you can simply adjust your budget when you do receive the money. You will also need a strategy to track all of your spending. Start off with all your regular and monthly payments that you need to make for the month. It could be matters that include your student loan payments with interest, your insurance, and your taxes. Once you have established all your monthly fixed expenses, then it is time to check out where the rest of your money happens to go. It can be as simple as saving all your receipts or pulling a transactional statement from the bank to check when, how much, and where you are spending your money. You can even make use of an app. The digital era has indeed blessed us with easier solutions in managing our finances. Creating your budget. Now your next step would be to subtract all your expenses from your total income. In the ideal world, you will have money left over after all your expenses have been accounted for. We know this is generally not an ideal world, and realistically, it might be a little tight. It might mean cutting out some subscriptions, eating out a whole lot less, or simply following the 5-word rule as much as possible. Stay out of the shops. Make sure to only visit when getting some necessities. So, gather all your financial statements. It could be matters such as your credit card bills, mortgage and auto loan payments, investment accounts, W-2s and pay stubs, 1099s, bank statements, receipts over the course of 3 months, recent utility bills. You want to create a budget that focuses on covering all your debts and needs first. Then you want to spend some money on wants, as you want some financial relief and also want to set aside money for savings, investments, and emergency funds. If you want to, you can make use of the 50-20-30 budgeting rule. It has become incredibly popular, and you figure it out after all the tax has been deducted. 50% of your budget will be focusing on your needs. It is everything you need in order to survive, such as groceries, mortgage or rent, vehicle payments, health care, and insurance. It will also include utility payments, but not your coffee trip to Starbucks. As much as it may seem that we all need caffeine, coffee does classify as a want. If you happen to pay more than 50% on your needs, you will have to reassess certain payments that you make and cut down where you can. 20% focuses on savings. This is where you will be allocating your emergency funds, your investments, and trading in crypto, as well as a mutual fund account. You want to focus on having at least 3 months of emergency savings, 3 times your total expenses for a month, in order to have the best coverage for when things go wrong. Some people go as far as saying you should have a year's worth. However, let's take a step back and stick to 3 months for now. 30% should be focused on wants. Wants are the items you do not need but could use to make life easier. It can be matters such as eating out, electronic gadgets, or even tickets to see that game. You absolutely do not want to be spending more than 30% of your total income on your wants. Depending on your financial situation, you may be required to cut down even more. This is perhaps the toughest thing to do because the wants make life a little more enjoyable. Having that taken away is a lot more grueling than what many people even want to realize. If you cannot use this ratio, as sometimes situations in life do not allow this, focus on calculating all your income and expenses until you can calculate and tweak your expenses to best fit your income and overall goals. Remember to review your budget on a monthly basis to add any unexpected purchases or tweak a category where you did not spend as much money. You want to create a budget that works best for you and your current living environment. Additional budgeting tips. Take your time when learning all the necessary financial skills. You want to make your money work as hard as possible for your benefit. So, never stop learning about finances because there will always be something new and unexpected to improve your life and credit score. Only use your credit card if you have the money to pay off the expenses by the end of the month. If you happen to work on commission, then saving at a more aggressive rate can really aid you during slow market times. Once you have mastered having less expenses taken from your income, prioritize saving over increasing your payments. Ensure that you have enough spending categories that are accurate. You do not want to go overboard and have a category for every can of peach slices or cup of coffee that you purchased. However, you want to have enough to have a clear picture of where exactly your money is going. Have realistic financial goals that are written down. Although these goals are not really required as a part of the budget, it is actually a critical part of the overall plan of budgeting. Although it is not imperative that you follow the budgeting template given above, you need to build the plan that works best for you. You are the only one who fully knows your expenses, your income, and your debts. If you were to write a book on all the different budgets for all the different circumstances, it would be infinite because everyone's story is incredibly unique. Don't be ashamed to reach out to a financial advisor if you are struggling financially. Sometimes all you need is to get pointed in the right direction. Sometimes you just need to know what your options are. Oftentimes, stress and panic can lead you to making assumptions about your financial state when it normally isn't as bad as what you may think it is. Chapter 6. Understanding Trading and Investing. Trading and investing are terms generally used to mean the same thing. However, there are subtle differences between them. Investing involves long-term goals where you set aside a sum of money into bonds, stocks, or real estate, and the value of the money grows over a couple of years or decades. Trading, on the other hand, involves more short-term forms of earning money. It can last between a couple of days, weeks, or months. However, anything that surpasses a year might as well be considered a long-term investment. Trading explained. Trading commonly involves the stock market and cryptocurrency, as trading involves more volatile forms of investing. Trading is the basic concept of both buying as well as selling a variety of products and services between a buyer and seller, or it could be done on an exchange platform. Trades can take place within their local economy, or it could even extend to international borders. When trading with cryptocurrency, for example, one normally is investing and buying from people on a global scale. Cryptocurrency really holds very little boundaries. How does a trade work? Well, there is a wide variety of things you can do while trading, but the most common form of trading is one you might know as day trading. This is where a person buys into the market at a specific time of day and exits the market by the end of the day. Then they start from scratch the very next morning. How do you start trading? First, you open up a trading account. You want to find yourself a good online stockbroker and may even be required to open a stock brokerage account. You want to become familiar with how the online interface works before you even consider making a singular trade. To identify trends. Trends come and go, but they affect the markets. The moment someone can identify a trend is the moment they have a much greater potential of being a step ahead in the game. You will also have to learn how to analyze markets. This is commonly called technical analysis. It involves taking a look at and successfully reading price charts from hundreds to thousands of them as time moves on. Having the ability to analyze will allow you to identify the necessary market trends which can bolster your success. So, reading a chart is a must-have skill taught in the next chapter. You, then, will want to practice trading. This is often called paper trading and is dealt with a little later. However, trading is a skill and should be treated as such. You should allow yourself the necessary time to practice your strategies without burning through all your money with rookie mistakes. This will keep you in the game for far longer. Trading tricks. First of all, what would you need in order to pull off successful trading? It's important to remember that success is never guaranteed with trading, but you can take necessary steps to boost your chances of scoring a profit. You will need a computer or a laptop. It is even better if you have 2 monitors to aid you, but it is not an absolute requirement. Your computer needs to be able to run fast enough, and the software needs to be reliable, not crash in the middle of a trade. You do not need an elite gaming computer to achieve this, but you don't want something that is too cheap either. You want something that works specifically for the task at hand. You also want a reliable internet connection. This largely depends on where you are, because a sporadic connection can really kill a good trade. So try to connect to a cable if you have a modem and strive for a mid-range internet speed package. Granted, the slowest speed offered by your internet provider might just do the job, but when you have a couple of tabs up and running, the platform itself might be slower on its updates. When you work on day trades, everything literally runs between seconds, minutes, and hours. You want to make 100% sure you are on top of things. You will have to choose a reliable trading platform. With cryptocurrency, for example, you can choose an exchange platform or a broker platform. Both come with their fair share of advantages and disadvantages, and you will have to choose the one that fits your lifestyle and goals best. If you move beyond cryptocurrency and want to work with stocks, then you will need a broker too. Brokers are used as the middleman between businesses and individuals, as certain businesses do not have time to constantly be dealing with their shares. It's not like you can walk into a McDonald's, slap some money on the counter, and say you want to invest in their business. It may get you a few funny looks and a burger, but nothing more. So, what are the top trading skills you need to learn? Let's dive into the top trading tips for day traders. Although some of these tips only apply for those trading the week or months too. Start small with your trading. For instance, start off with just $500 or even $1,000, depending on what kind of trade you have chosen. Starting small will allow you to manage your losses. There are too many incidents where people have used their retirement funds or taken out large loans only to end up with huge debt and no money because of huge losses due to rookie mistakes. Limit orders are your new best friend while trading. It allows you to set a very specific price, selling or buying, and will automatically execute that order even if you are not around. This means if the price of stock suddenly drops, once it reaches your limit order, it will sell it for you, meaning it limits the loss you might make. The same thing occurs when it is time to pull out of the market. The limit order will pull you out once the market has reached its peak and might dip soon. Emotional trading will not get you anywhere good, so be sure to brush up on trading psychology. Next, focus on sticking to your strategy rather than to what your emotions might be telling you to do. As a day trader, you want to make sure you time your trades correctly. It means you need to consider working only 2 to 3 hours a day on trading, and these hours need to be chosen by when the market is busiest. For example, good trading normally occurs within stocks from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., or during the last hours of the day, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These are the most volatile times during the day. For day trading futures, the opening time is generally a good time to tackle a trade. For Forex market trades, open 24 hours within the week, the best times have been shown to trade at 1 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Euro-USD, one of the most popular trading pairs. The biggest price moves also occur between 7 a.m. through to 10 a.m. Skip penny stocks as a beginner. Penny stocks may seem attractive because of their low prices, but they are harder to trade and easier to make bad choices with. When you are day trading, you want to look at 3 very important factors regardless of what trade you are working with. These include liquidity. This allows you to buy and sell very quickly. The more liquid an asset is, the easier it would be to buy and sell such items for a profit. Volatility. This determines how much the price fluctuates in a day, week, month, or year. The more volatility assets have, the more risks there are involved. Trading volume. This is a reflection of how many trades occur with an asset specifically within the day. The higher the trading volume, the more popular the asset is going to be. Does trading work like gambling? Day trading does come at a very high risk of losses. It doesn't matter what good strategy you have or how many times you have practiced the swings. It can still cause you to lose a good chunk of money. Trade risk focuses on how much you are truly willing to risk when you are making a trade. You want, ideally, 1% of risk or less of your total capital with each and every trade. Your daily risk should be set at 3% per day. So if you are risking 1% per trade that you make, it will take 3 failed trades for the day to cut your losses. It is very important to choose a time and a place to just stop trading. You can increase your risk once you see yourself becoming more profitable. However, until you have built up all the necessary experience, be sure to stick to your risk limits. One of the biggest mistakes most traders make is revenge trading. This is when they take a loss and make impulse trading decisions in order to make up for the losses they have encountered. However, trading isn't quite like gambling. Although luck does play a certain role in the overall success of a trade, the strategies and ability to predict trends are more likely to grant you success than what a lottery ticket could. A lot of gambling, although some relies on skill, depends on betting and the game of luck. Trading focuses on the strategies and the ability to predict trends. When trends do not go according to plan, that is normally when things start to go wrong. Investing explained. Investing involves an extended period of time where you buy certain assets with hopes that it appreciates. A person could very easily purchase and invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum for long-term investments. However, a person can also commonly invest in real estate, bonds, as that could last decades, or stocks from businesses. Top tips for investing. Although this does also apply to trading, you will need to design yourself a good plan. How much are you planning to invest? How much can you afford to lose? What is your ultimate goal with investing? How long are you going to be investing in order to be able to reach your goals? Regardless of whether it is day trading or long-term investing, there will always be a certain degree of risk. You need to understand where your risk tolerance is. Most beginner mistakes come with people being more tolerant of risk than they should be, which results in greater losses at the beginning. Tax efficiency is incredibly important, especially when you are investing for the long term. If you have invested for a couple of decades and you haven't operated in a tax-efficient environment, you may end up paying a huge amount of taxes when the income finally comes your way. Diversify your portfolio. If you want to reduce the risk, then divide your funds and start investing in different companies, sectors, and markets. When it comes to investing in cryptocurrency, for example, it would be best to invest in Bitcoin and a couple of other altcoins, preferably within the range of the top 10 or the top 20. Expanding your portfolio to be as varied as possible will really spread out the majority of the risk. So if an entire market is affected, you will still have certain security in another market. It is commonly called not having all your eggs in one basket, and the top traders and investors practice this rule. Do not go hunting after various tips. Certain tips on the internet could be helpful, but the majority of them are meant to manipulate the market. So do not constantly go changing your portfolio on the basis of other people's tips. Tip: social media is a great place to follow through on picking up trends and seeing the direction most people believe cryptocurrency and other trades to be going. It can also be a great community to be involved in, filled with very credible information. However, social media has a darker side where you have no idea who is behind the profile. Furthermore, social media is ripe for spreading rumors, fears, and even causing panic buying and panic selling, which could be potentially fatal for the market. Before believing any information on social media, you need to make sure you can verify the information with more reliable sources. Oftentimes, fake news stories instill a sense of urgency where many people don't believe they have the time to do this. However, sometimes all it takes would be a quick 5-minute search on Google to discover the truth or lies behind what is being shared. Don't invest in speculation. What does this mean? Just because an investment has more risk doesn't mean you're going to have an overall greater reward. It is best to leave the risky trades for the short term because risky trades become an even bigger problem in the future. You want to invest in a company that shows true potential for the future and limited risk. Therefore, the older companies might just be a better choice in the long run. Investing on a regular basis is better than investing in one huge lump sum. Mentioned later, there is even an investing trading strategy that involves this tip, as investing in the smallest sum allows you to avoid a good chunk of the fluctuations that continuously occur. Consider reinvesting. How on earth do you do this? Well, you want to take a look at the dividends you have received and consider reinvesting those funds back into your investment portfolio. Increasing your overall investments can greatly increase your returns in the long haul. Keep assessing and sticking to your plans. It might be wise to check up on your investment choices, specifically your risk assessments in your portfolio, to make the necessary changes if certain investments have become too risky. However, you also want to stick to your plans as much as possible, despite all the chatter about inflation, interest rates, oil price, gold price, and so forth. You just won't be able to get away. Keeping your eyes on the future and maintaining a long-term perspective is important to make the best informed decisions now. Although there is great temptation to dive into the get-rich-quick schemes that abound in the trading industry, long-term investing is going to bring far greater rewards and reduce chances of losing that money. Although there is nothing particularly wrong with trading when it comes to financial security, you are far more likely to achieve this with long-term investments. However, depending on the time, funds, and motivation that you have, you can always participate in both. This would diversify your portfolio and provide you with a necessary safety net. If you were to suffer losses in your short-term trades, you will still have your long-term trades making money for you. As a beginner in the financial industry, until you have a proper grasp on all the elements of your personal finances and trading, it would be best to stick to long-term trades. This is simply because you need the necessary time and knowledge to train yourself into making the best decisions as a trader. Does it cost money to learn trading and investing? It depends on where you want to study. However, there are some free resources available for you to use and enjoy online. After all, if a person can teach themselves an entirely new language on the web, then surely there are enough resources online for trading, with minimal costs involved. Sometimes gaining structure in everything you need to learn can come in the shape of some good books or courses. Chapter 7. Understanding Charts and Strategies. Although you can use a lot of what is being shared here for trading and investing in general, I will be using cryptocurrency as the common example with the tools and tricks. There are a few things you need to know before even working with strategies. This is much like a photographer needs to understand how to use their camera before learning how to take the best photos. Charts explained. Charts may look very difficult, but in reality, it is not as complicated as you may think. It is essential information to know, however, in order to provide the necessary technical analysis to help you identify all the different market trends and predict which direction the future price movements may be heading toward. What is technical analysis? This was first created by Charles Dow, who was the founder and the editor of the Wall Street Journal. He had a part to play in the first stock index and published a series of journals before passing away. The technical analysis has since evolved, but it focuses on the market psychology where history has the tendency of repeating itself. Understanding the Dow theory. The Dow theory suggests that there are different kinds of trends in the market. One is called primary trends, where the major market tends to move in a specific direction over the course of the last couple of months or years. Primary trends can either be a bull market, where the value of the asset keeps rising, or a bear market, where the value of the asset keeps dropping. The primary trend also has 3 phases. The accumulation phase is where the market is still mostly heading in a negative or positive direction. The second phase is the participation phase. This is where people are starting to notice the new trend and start either buying more assets or cutting their losses by selling them. Then we see an increased pace of prices rising or decreasing. The final phase is often called the panic phase, where the large market starts to wonder when this trend is going to end. This can cause panic buying or selling and is soon going to reach its peak, perhaps reversing into the bull or bear trend. Indices need to correlate. This is an important tenet of the Dow theory, where the market trend should only be confirmed when both indices, the measures of the performance of a group of stock, indicate that a new trend is actually starting. In theory, if one index, normally comes in a line, confirms that there is a new trend in the upward direction, but the other index, of the primary trend, still indicates that the market is moving downwards, then it is safe to assume no new primary trend is actually starting. Trends are also still valid until the reversals are clear. This means that any indication of a trend reversal should be treated with a good level of suspicion as well as caution until they are proven true. Understanding candlestick charts. Cryptocurrency markets are traditionally viewed and analyzed in various sorts of ways, but candlestick charts offer more information purely because of their overall nature. Candlestick charts indicate the bullish or bearish pattern over a certain period of time. Cryptocurrency candlestick charts tend to show time across the horizontal axis and the private data on the vertical axis, similar to line and bar graphs that you may have learned in math. The difference is that the candlestick tends to show whether or not the movement of the price is positive or negative within a certain period of time. If it is going in a positive, bullish direction, the candlestick will be green. This is when the closing price is higher than the starting price. If it is going in a negative, bearish direction, the candlestick will be red. This is when the closing price is lower than the starting price. The candlesticks can be set for certain different time frames depending on what patterns you would like to identify. It could be for hour time frames to minutes even. The structure of a candlestick chart can offer people a wide variety of information. Understanding support and resistance levels. Being able to read live cryptocurrency charts is a whole lot easier when you add support and resistance lines into the equation. They are used to identify certain trend lines that connect a series of prices. Support levels are lines showing where the downward trend is expected to pause due to the level of demand the crypto coin happens to have. Resistance lines occur where people expect the price to stop rising due to the limit of supply. There is also a downward line which focuses on the 2 highest lines. It often faces a downward direction and is an indication that the price is gradually lowering and going into a bearish trend. Moving averages. Moving averages, also called MA, are one of the most common technical indicators and used to indicate the general direction of the trend, ignoring the common fluctuations. The most common MA is given for 10 days, 20 days, 50 days, 100 days, 200 days. This allows people to better identify the market trends, and the MA can be considered as a support level during an uptrend or a resistance level during a downtrend. There are 2 kinds of MA that traders like to use. One is the simple moving average, where the average price of the asset is added together and divided by the number of days, as indicated above. Then there is the weighted moving average, where there is more weight given to the currency prices, making the WMA more responsive to the direction the price is currently going in. The MA is also used in a trading strategy, which will be delved into later in this chapter. Best investing tools. There are many tools provided for investors as time progresses and people flock to the markets. With so many choices, you need to choose the tools that work best for you and allow you the greatest chances of success. There is no point using a monitoring app when it is 10 minutes behind, because even that can have an overall effect on your choices. Here are the top tools to consider using as a cryptocurrency investor. CoinMarketCap's Portfolio Tracker. This is the best way to keep track of all your cryptocurrency, especially if you're making use of more than one exchange or more than one digital wallet. You use this tool to track your coins, what you're buying and selling, and adding the transaction to your portfolio. It might seem like a little bit of extra work, but it sure is worth it. When you make use of this tool, you can see all the best and the worst performing cryptos, the activity of certain cryptos, including the percentage of profit or loss you are making, the average buying price, and the performance of your portfolio over a certain time span of days, weeks, to even months or more. CoinMarketCap's Event Tracker. A tool used to understand the upcoming events of big cryptos before they hit the headlines. You can search a specific time, coin, event, exchange, and even keyword to find all the necessary information to stay on track with all things crypto. It allows you to identify the potential hikes or sinking of prices due to what is happening with crypto markets and allows you to be ahead of the game. Brave Browser. This has recently hit the markets and is built on blockchain technology in action. You even get rewarded with Brave tokens for the ads you watch online instead of being bugged by them for free. It also reduces the amount of ads you see as a whole, including the ads on YouTube and Google. Gas Now Transaction Cost Tracker. This focuses on the decentralized exchanges, such as Ethereum's network. Whenever users pay for each transaction, the fee takes a hike when there is a lot of activity on the network. Making use of monitoring the current fees will allow you to buy into the markets at a cheaper fee and exit when need be. Coin Checkup Development Activity Tracker. This is one of the more difficult factors when investing in crypto. There are so many coins circulating, over 17,000 in 2022, that picking which ones are going to survive in the long run is tough. Paper trading. What on earth is paper trading? Paper trading is a simulation of the trading world, which allows traders to buy and sell without the risk of using real money. The term paper trading comes from the time when people used to make trades on paper. They would write down all their trades, exits, and entries while watching the live markets to see if their strategies would have worked. Does that sound intensive? Grueling? Hard? It was all of the above, and luckily, you can put that pen and paper away as the simulations created can make for a much more lifelike trading platform. And you won't have the hand cramps to go with it. Everything paper trading does for you. Considering it as an online platform, it allows investors to trade in the live market without the actual commitment. The software can also keep track of the process for you, as well as your profits and losses. You will be able to make use of charts, strategies, and even use paper trading after you have entered the market to try out your new trades. Online brokers such as TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim and Fidelity offer you paper trading simulators. TD Ameritrade Paper Money's goal is designed to aid customers in choosing different investment strategies and see the potential rewards without losing real money. It allows them to play out different scenarios. As you can imagine, as a beginner, this is critically important. Being able to see where your decisions lead, see the consequences of them, and correct any rookie mistakes before entering the live market is essential in preparing you for more difficult trades. Paper trading has far more benefits to it than cons, but very few people actually consider using paper trading for investing, mostly because they are too excited to start out in the live markets. You won't profit from any of your success on paper trade, but you won't be making any losses either. To get the most benefits out of the paper trade, you will have to practice real trading methods as well as goals. You want your paper trading to be a realistic reflection of what you can afford and the trades you would like to make. You want it to be as close to the live account as possible to practice the numerous kinds of strategies that you would use as a day trader. Paper trading transactions can be applied to a wide variety of market conditions. You will see the results of volatility, understand spreading the investments, and monitor slippage, considering that it occurs when a trader obtains a different price than initially expected. Difference between live accounts and paper trading accounts. Paper trades can provide a bit of a false sense of security. The results might provide distorted investment returns, and because it removes the fear factor of loss, it does not involve any real risk. This can play as both an advantage and a disadvantage for trading, where traders may make different choices when risk is present. You are likely to encounter a wide variety of different emotions and judgment when your real money is at risk. It means that even if you operate one way with your paper trading account, you are likely to be emotionally influenced in making a different choice with a real-life account simply because your money is now actually at risk. Pros and cons of paper trading. Pros. There is no risk. This means you cannot lose any money with poor timing or bad decisions. It allows you to see your flaws and build your strategy before losing the trading game with too many losses. There is no stress involved. This means you can practice effective risk management and overlook the emotional roller coaster that comes with trading. Being able to see the benefits of logical and strategic trading can help you in the long haul. Practice makes perfect, and having a platform where it won't cost you dearly is critical to improving your skill. You will be building a whole lot of confidence as you are faced with complex real-life decisions and receive the rewards of hypothetical trading. It allows you to see your success and takes away some of the initial nerves when starting your first trade. Paper trading will allow you to build up months of necessary and useful statistics with your strategies and market approach. Cons. Paper trading, unfortunately, fails to correlate the overall market impact on individual securities as a whole. So, it might be tough to see the consequences of what is happening to your overall portfolio. Paper trading does not take all the commission costs or slippage into consideration. This means the amount of profits and expenses you come across in a simulation won't be quite the same as what you see in the live market. This doesn't mean you have done anything wrong. It simply implies that the simulation is not perfect, as not all the costs are accounted for. Paper trading will not help prepare you for the emotional aspect of the live market. Emotional trading only occurs when your real money is at risk. That means you need to learn how to brace yourself and practice good trading psychology when you are integrating into the live markets. It is doubtful that you will be struggling from FOMO, fear of missing out, or panic buying and selling when you know you don't have the potential of losing all your money. Paper traders may find the best entries and exits, but miss the obstacles that come with a computer-driven environment. You will have to learn to adjust your entries and exits within the live markets, as it may differ from the paper trading simulations. The benefits of paper trading overrule the cons, but it is good to be aware of the flaws of paper trading. It simply highlights the areas that you need to watch out for when switching to the live markets. However, you can iron out most of your mistakes in the paper trading platform. If you are choosing cryptocurrency, it is especially recommended. This is because crypto is highly volatile, and it is best to learn that within the safety of paper trading. Most people don't realize how dramatically prices may change over the course of minutes or hours until they come face to face with it themselves in the market. As you are taking on paper trading, it might be a good opportunity to take on long-term investments. This will allow you to start building your portfolio while practicing riskier investments. Paper trading practice can span between the course of days to weeks to months. You can even continue your paper trading practice once you have entered the live markets to try out new strategies and tricks. Even savvy traders still make use of paper trading, as they may need some evidence to see whether or not their plans have a good chance of winning overall. Strategies explained. Simple and easy. So, what are some of the easy and simple strategies you can take on as a beginner? There are quite a few strategies out there that have been tried and tested. You can try them out on a variety of different assets too, depending on your goals and the overall market. Value investing. This focuses on shopping for bargains. Investors will be out looking for stocks that are currently being undervalued. They may see the stocks and prices and notice that they do not reflect the true value. This depends on a person's prediction skills, and people take advantage of stocks with discounted prices in order to make money from them. Investors don't need to rifle through thousands of pieces of financial data in order to find the necessary deals. Instead, they can go through mutual funds data, giving them a chance to own stocks that are considered undervalued. The Russell 1000 Value Index is a reflection of a good benchmark that investors and mutual funds use in order to identify undervalued stocks. However, this strategy can come at a cost, considering that the value of the stock may remain low for years, and often people eventually pull out when they get tired of waiting. Thus, this form of strategy involves playing the long game. Value investing tools. You can make use of the price-earning ratio, which has become a primary tool to pick up stocks that are too cheap or undervalued. Investors look for companies that have a low overall P/E ratio. However, this form of measurement alone will not work, but it is a good start. You will have to learn about measuring quality and profitability, as well as do an in-depth study on the company itself and its potential. Growth investing. This focuses on investments that have the potential of strong growth in the future. It could be considered as investors searching for the next big thing and becomes a speculative form of investing. Growth investors check out all the prospects that a certain industry holds, where stocks tend to thrive. You might, for instance, take a look at the current future of electric vehicles before considering investing in a Tesla. If you have a fascination for the video game industry, you might want to check out the metaverse and all the potential it holds in there. However, when investing in growth companies, there may be a strong lack of dividends, as it is still focusing on growing its capital in order to succeed in its overall scaling. That means not a lot of money is left over for dividends. Value investing has been shown to outperform growth investing in the long haul. That doesn't mean that growth investors will not profit from this choice and strategy, but it does mean you won't be seeing the excessive amount of returns that the average value investor has seen. Growth investing variables. This focuses on a few factors that investors really need to take into account. When the economy is hit hard, for instance, the growth stocks are generally the first stocks that are going to drop. Growth investors really have to consider the management going on within the executive team of the business. Being able to achieve growth is one of the most difficult tasks a firm undertakes, and that means top leadership is required. Investors should also take their time to evaluate the different forms of competition in order to understand how the business they are interested in is competing against the rest. Dollar cost averaging. This can be done for both stocks and cryptocurrency, especially with crypto, where you make the practice of regularly investing in a specific market over a period of time. You can use this strategy while applying other strategies as well. This one does not have to stand solely on its own. Basically, you would choose to invest a small amount each month or week in an investment platform. For example, you want to invest $1,000 in Cardano in total. Instead, you divide it into tenths and you invest $100 in Cardano for 10 weeks every Monday at 2 p.m. This helps to avoid the painful strategy of bad timing in the market and helps to overcome the fluctuating markets. Dollar cost averaging, DCA, is a very wise choice for the majority of investors and reduces the level of risks and the heavy impact of volatility. The more volatile a specific investment is, the more you need to implement this strategy for yourself. Most investors are not often in the place to make a single large investment either. Imagine you decide to invest $100 every month in Cardano instead, simply because that is what your paycheck allows. You will still be implementing a strategy and are likely to get far more Cardano tokens than if you were to invest all at once. Long-term strategy. Basically, you will be buying into certain investments and waiting for it to grow in value over time. You can use the DCA in between and monitor the markets to make sure your investments stay safe. However, this is the most common long-term investment strategy. Other strategies that are left are the day trading strategies, which are generally being used against highly volatile investment choices. Day trading strategies to consider. Day trading strategies involve more than long-term investing simply because there is a lot more at play in the day-to-day stocks and markets. Tweets can literally change the tide of a good trade, so you can imagine the level of expertise that goes into learning how to trade. What are some of the top trading tips you need to grasp before implementing any kinds of strategies? Knowledge truly is power when it comes to matters of basic trading. You will have to keep up with the latest news of stock or crypto and all sorts of events that could remotely affect your stock. So, although this isn't school, you do need to do thorough homework on the stocks and crypto that you have in mind. For instance, you might second-guess investing in a crypto if a celebrity and businessman like Elon Musk tweeted something against it. His influence over the crypto world is incredibly strong, so even following him might be important, especially if you are investing in Dogecoin or Bitcoin. Set aside a good amount of funds that you are willing to risk for each trade. As mentioned before, it should be at least 1 to 2% of your capital per trade. You will also need to set aside a specific period of time where you will be trading. Day trading does require a good amount of time and effort and would not quite qualify as passive income. Remember to stay cool, calm, and collected when coming across losses. The stock market has the nasty habit of easily getting on people's nerves, which in turn causes them to make worse choices overall. What makes day trading more challenging than long-term investments? That would be the fact that you are actually going up against professionals. Trading is similar to a game. Whenever you make a gain, someone makes a loss. This is because you are working for and against other people's money in the market. So, when you're going face-to-face against people who make it their whole life's work to trade, you can imagine that it is going to be a very tough game. Some people have access to some of the best technology, so even if they fail in one area, they are set up to succeed in another. Additionally, the game of trading is pure logic. No emotion is really involved, and this can make things brutal. Professional traders know when to cut their losses, call it a day, and can cut out their emotional and psychological biases. They do this for a living, after all. When your own capital and your own personal money is at stake, it tends to be a bit different. Deciding when you need to sell. There are quite a few methods to use to exit when you have gained a profit. This would include trail stops as well as profit targets. The most common exit tactic would be the profit target, as you will be exiting once your profit has reached a predetermined level. Scalping. A very popular strategy that involves selling the moment a trade has become profitable. You do not want to stay any longer than what was planned beforehand, and it reduces the risk of a reversal trend cutting your money. Fading. It involves shortening the stocks when they are moving rapidly upwards. You are making the assumption that they are overbought and that existing buyers will soon be scared away. This is a very risky but also very rewarding strategy if it is done right. Daily pivots. If you watched Friends, you might get a chuckle from the word pivot. However, this is not a couch you are moving, but volatility in stocks. You will be attempting to purchase the stock at a lower price and sell it at its highest point in the day. This is when you will be making extensive use of a price target where you set a realistic price to sell your stocks and make a successful profit. Momentum. This strategy involves focusing on new releases or trends that are supported with a whole lot of volume. You will buy into a market that is steadily moving upward and make a quick exit at any indication of a trend reversal. You will want to install a physical stop-loss order at a certain price that best fits your risk tolerance. However, you will also have to place a mental stop-loss order for yourself where you will immediately exit your position and call it a day. Other basic day trading strategies. You want to follow the trend. Purchase stocks when the prices are rising and sell them when the prices start to drop. This is based on the overall assumption that the prices are rising and falling and will actually continue to do so. There is also contrarian investing, where you assume that the prices are rising and will eventually do a reverse and drop. Therefore, people will buy during price drops and will sell when it is rising, with the expectation that the trends are bound to change. The more volatile a trade is, the more likely this will be proven to be true. Trading the news is another strategy that focuses on buying when there is good news announced and selling when there is bad news. This focuses on your ability to read the news and analyze how exactly it is going to be affecting the overall markets. With a good amount of practice and consistent evaluation, it can lead to great profits, but making mistakes can lead to great losses too. Which strategies are best for a beginner? Following the trend has generally been proven as the easiest trading strategy that works for a beginner. Contrarian investing means you are going against the trends, and scalping and fading requires some quick decision-making. For anyone who is new to the markets, identifying important information and what it could mean for the market is going to take a good long while to learn. This is what should be practiced in paper trading. Difference between technical and fundamental analysis. Technical analysis focuses on traders identifying the short-term trading patterns which are critical for day trading. Naturally, as a day trader, this would be better suited to practice. Fundamental analysis is certainly more suitable for long-term investing as it focuses on the asset price and its growth over the last couple of months. Understanding both is good for short and long-term trading, especially if you are wisely planning on implementing both strategies. However, if you had to choose between trading and investing, investing in the long term will always be the safer option. If you stand up for a challenge and are ready to take on some risks, such as cryptocurrency, then short-term trading is your goal too. In summary, it would be better to focus on long-term investing if you are only up for one of the two investment platforms. If you want to do short-term trading, it may be wise to have long-term investments set up in the background as well. This is purely because you would like to have a certain level of security in your finances when taking on a risky trade. Chapter 8. Understanding Brokers and Exchanges. In order to complete the necessary investments, regardless of if it is investments or stocks, you will have to work on exchange platforms or with brokers. There are a wide variety of brokers and exchanges available. Your choice over what you want to use should focus on what will best suit your overall goals. Top investment platforms for beginners. There are a variety of investment platforms that already offer ready-made portfolios, which are naturally ideal for people who are just starting off with a wide variety of investments. How do they work, and how do you go about choosing your best investment platform? Nutmeg. Nutmeg is a new generation robo-advisor platform that has new styles of portfolio investments available on your mobile phone. You have a choice of opening an account, stocks and shares ISA, pension, or even a general investment account through Nutmeg. You also have the choice of 3 different types of portfolios. The cheapest is called a fixed allocation portfolio, where it is a mix of a variety of different investment assets. If you are willing to pay just a little more, then you can choose for Nutmeg's fully managed portfolios. Online brokers are involved in the monitoring, buying, and selling of your stocks on your behalf. They will make any necessary adjustments to your portfolio mix in order to help you achieve your goals. There are also socially responsible portfolios that are offered. The site is incredibly easy for beginners to use and even allows you to access graphs in order to reveal any of your potential returns as well as losers. eVestor. eVestor is a low-cost and easy-choice investor platform that allows you to enter the market with minimum funds. It offers 3 different types of portfolios, spanning from the low to the medium to the high risk. You can also place your stocks and shares into a pension or general investment trading account, and there are no additional fees and charges tucked in the app to be concerned about. You can start investing with as little as $1. Vanguard. Vanguard is one of the cheapest platforms to invest in. If that is what you are looking for, then you need to search no longer. Vanguard happens to be an American fund management group. It is incredibly cheap. However, there are very few educational resources on using this platform, so it may require you to have a little bit of trading know-how in order to work it. HSBC. If you want to invest with your bank, then HSBC is a good consideration. It offers different portfolio investments with 5 different levels of risk, and the annual cost can start off as 0.45%. In regards to help and advice, there isn't much, so you need to have the know-how of basic investing before deciding to use this platform. Fidelity. This is a full-service, ready-made investment portfolio platform where you can pick your own investments and do your own stock tradings as well. It is a step up from all the other platforms and allows a little more freedom in the choices you want to make. Being one of the largest investment providers in the world, the UK offers a wide variety of mainstream investment funds, aka mutual funds, as well as a developed trading platform and easy-to-use graphs. It even has a tool to help filter your choices based on all the risk levels and is one of the cheapest portfolios around. What exactly are investment platforms? These are platforms that allow you to purchase and hold on to a variety of shares, bonds, and money all in one place. Some services make it so much easier to build up your platform and already have ready-made portfolios for you to use. The great advantage is that you can choose your platform based on the level of risk you are willing to undertake. This is by far a little different as to what old-fashioned stockbrokers are facing in this day and age. Some platforms go so far as to offer guidance, and certain options might suit you best, depending on the level of support and advice you need in the long run. How to choose an investing platform. You want, especially as a beginner, a platform that will do the majority of the work for you. So you would do well with the newer platforms that have been popping up. You need to take the following factors into consideration. Does the platform have a mobile app to work alongside it? This will make trading easier as a whole. How are the costs compared to others? How cheap or how expensive is it to work on a specific platform? What are the range of investments offered on this platform? Does it have investments that you would like to work with? How is customer service? How would they likely respond if I come across a problem? Does the platform offer tax-free choices, such as with lifetime ISA? Not all of the investment platforms offer such a feature, which in and of itself can be quite a problem. What are the most common forms of investments offered? Bonds, shares, property, cash, index-managed funds, actively managed funds. Things you should know about crypto exchanges. Cryptocurrency exchange platforms fall into a different category. Considering that crypto is only now starting to hit the mainstream, it may still take a couple of years before we see an integration of crypto into the more common investment platforms. However, we are starting to see that already, as there are a wide variety of crypto-dedicated platforms available, such as Binance.us, Coinbase, Kraken, Crypto.com, Gemini, Gate.io. Everything you should know before choosing a platform. There are many exchange platforms available for you to choose from, and it would be wise to check out the various factors before choosing your exchange. With crypto, it falls into a few different categories in comparison to more traditional stock investments. First, you want to check out the cryptocurrency selection. You want to be able to trade with a variety of coins, especially as a day trader, and some exchanges offer 10 different coins, while others would offer hundreds. You want to stick with the top coins as a beginner, but as you get more advanced, you should consider expanding your horizons. You want to double-check and triple-check the security of a platform. This is because crypto exchanges are often the targets of cyber attacks. Just look up Mt. Gox for a good example. There is no government regulation, and most top platforms take extra precautions to make sure your coins are protected from theft. However, look for features such as two-factor authentication as well as storing your coins offline in a cold wallet. There are a lot of fees involved, so on certain robust exchanges, you may be facing a whole lot of trading fees and even considerable commission costs. Binance, however, is known for their decreased fees. Some, like Voyager, are known for being completely commission-free. So, your goals and the type of trade you'd like to use will alter your choice of the cryptocurrency exchange platform. You want to check the availability of said exchange in your country and perhaps even your state, as certain exchanges are not currently available in certain locations. For example, there is Binance.us, but the original platform, Binance, is not available within the United States, although it is one of the top platforms available. As you can see, you might find a platform that suits your goals and needs, but you might end up incredibly disappointed over the reality that it simply is not available for use in your country. So be sure to keep yourself up to date, as you do not want to trifle with the law while trying to grow your financial wealth. Then you have your buy and trade options that you want to check out. When working with cryptocurrency, you may naturally want to connect your bank account in order to have your funds transferred or make use of your credit card. However, some platforms do not allow banks or cards and simply accept crypto coins, whereas some only allow bank trades. So your choice of trade will also largely depend on which exchange you'd like to use. You will want to choose a digital wallet in order to pay for your cryptocurrencies. It is recommended that you own two wallets. One is your hot wallet, which can connect online and allow you to make necessary trades a little faster. The other is your cold wallet, where you will store your coins for safekeeping. Your cold wallet should hold the majority of your coins, and your hot wallet should hold the coins you want to currently be working with. You also want to check out the customer service provided, especially how user-friendly they are and whether or not you can also install a mobile app. Although long-term investments are a possibility with crypto, it's much more of a hands-on investment. You can't just leave the coins in cold storage and simply forget about them. It is too much of a new technology to do so. How to choose a broker. Working with a broker is practically a must with stocks, but when it comes to crypto, it is a choice. So here are the top factors you need to know when choosing a broker. What is a broker? A broker acts as the middleman who deals directly with the clients in the companies. Regular brokers are held in high regard in comparison to broker resellers. Broker resellers act as intermediaries between clients and a broker who is more prominent. Because firms and individuals generally only accept members of an exchange, you need a broker to do the trading for you, such as buying and selling the orders. They are, in turn, compensated by certain commissions, fees, and other forms of payments. The majority of brokers simply act on your orders, making the trades that you direct them to. However, there are some brokers who also act as financial advisors, giving you guidance on your investments and the choices you want to make. Full service and discount brokers. You can start off by choosing a full-service broker or a discount broker. Discount brokers do not charge too much to an individual and leave you to make your decisions entirely on your own. Full-service brokers charge a higher fee, but they do a whole lot of the legwork that the investor might not want to do. They also create a financial plan and offer advice on the markets. There are a lot of online discount brokers available who offer a variety of tools for investors at different levels of experience. When making use of discount brokers, you will have to learn everything you can about trading. Cost and fees. Naturally, you will have a budget as to what you can afford. You will have to consider transactional fees as well as other brokerage fees. Most brokers require a certain minimum balance in order to set up an account for yourself. Online brokers generally ask for a minimum between $500 and $1,000. However, there are a few who do offer cheaper amounts. As a new investor, you might not want to open a margin account right away, but it would be wise to consider one in the future. It does require a higher minimum balance. Withdrawal fees are also commonly charged by brokers, and they do not permit any kind of withdrawal if the balance falls below the minimum amount. So you will have to stick within the rules they provide. Be sure you understand what the rules are before opening an account. Checking out the fine print. There is a common fee structure that a broker will be paid per trade. However, other brokers offer a far more complex structure, and it can be hard to figure out what exactly you will be paying. So, be sure you understand the structure before even taking a step forward into investing. Tip: If a broker has an overly complicated fee structure, you might want to double-check the legitimacy of the broker and make sure they really have your best interests in mind. There are so many different options out there. So, if you are unsure about a broker, then don't use them. Zero commission brokers. A lot of online brokers offer trading with zero commissions. This has brought down costs and is convenient for anyone working on a budget, like you. How do these brokers earn money? They use a tactic called payment for order flow. It means that trading firms pay the broker to be on the other side of the trade you are making. However, this has resulted in a certain amount of controversy as it could result in a conflict of interest. So this type of zero-commission broker might be banned in the future. Style of investment. You want to choose a broker that best fits your style of investment. Are you looking for a buy-and-hold investor, or are you a trader who needs to make quick decisions on the spot? You want a broker who best fits your needs. Verify your broker. You want to make sure that your broker meets all the criteria. They need to be registered with the RIA, Registered Investment Advisor, and should have a record with the SEC as they fall under their regulation. Brokers who work individually should also be registered with FINRA, Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, the organization that oversees the industry of finances on behalf of the government. At minimum, brokers need to have passed the SIE, Security Industry Essentials exam, as well as the Series 7 General Security Representative Qualification exam that allows them to be able to sell most forms of bonds, stocks, and ETFs. Considering robo-advisors. There is another alternative to using a human broker, and that would be robo-advisors. Robo-advisors are automated forms of trading and investing on platforms that make use of computer algorithms in order to both select as well as manage a person's portfolio with very little human interaction involved. Robo-advisors come at minimal costs and are a lot cheaper than having a human advisor. They also have lower requirements on the platform, and enrolling them is quite easy. However, there aren't many choices or personalizations available, and they primarily make investments in ETFs, so you do not have much variety to work with. Online crypto brokers. Brokers for cryptocurrency are, again, a little different in comparison to the brokers you know for stocks and real estate. The majority of crypto brokers are online. It is recommended that if you want to invest large sums of money in crypto, then you should use a broker, whereas with smaller funds, you can simply use an exchange. The best brokers for crypto are eToro, the top platform in summary for crypto trading as a whole. You gain a lot of advantages working on this platform, including following some of the top portfolio investors. 8cap. This platform has most of the cryptocurrency pairs to work with and is highly trusted. Swissquote, a highly trusted brand that works globally and offers a wide variety of coins to invest in. Interactive brokers, the best platform to use if you are a professional trader. AvaTrade, this has a wide variety of options to use on the platform. Which crypto platform is the safest? At the moment, Swissquote, regulated by the Swiss bank, has been proven to be one of the safest brokers around. Then, after Swissquote, eToro slips into second place as they focus on constantly upgrading their security and are licensed by the Gibraltar Financial Services Commission. Which broker has the lowest fees? The lowest fees would be between Coinbase and Binance, as Binance offers only 0.1% maker or taker fee, and Coinbase offers 0.5%. Brokers for cryptocurrency also provide a safety hedge and quite a lot of tools and charts to work with. Tackling day trading is easier on a platform that offers more functions, and you can learn a lot from eToro simply by watching some of the top traders. There really is no competition between exchanges and brokers. If you are working with stocks, you will automatically have to make use of a broker, whether it be a robo-advisor on an exchange platform or a full-service broker. So it is important to choose the right broker. When it comes to exchanges and brokers for crypto, you can choose between what you want to work with. Generally, the difference is the fact that it is better to work with a broker if you are working with large sums of money. With smaller sums, the exchange platform will do just fine. Be sure to do all the necessary research to find which one best suits your needs. Chapter 9. Understanding Online Safety. The digital world is perceived as safer simply because you're not able to see the threat. However, they are there. Cybercrime is rising as more and more people turn to digital platforms for almost everything in life. If you intend on becoming involved with cryptocurrency and online trading, you are bound to become a target of scams and hackers. This means you need to step up your online security. There is one fundamental difference between dangers online and dangers in the physical world. With the majority of cybercrime, you have to open the door for them before they can access your computer. This could be by clicking on a link, downloading a folder, or giving your information under the belief that you are using a safe website. Online concerns. So, what can you do to stay safe online? There are a few tricks you should practice which can immediately improve your online safety. These tricks include: start off by installing an antivirus and make sure to keep it updated. Every piece of electronic equipment that has access to the Internet should have an antivirus. This should actually be a requirement and not a suggestion. Before you think your computer firewall is enough, it does not prevent you from accessing suspicious websites or scanning files. Antivirus also prevents ransomware, where a virus encrypts your folders and demands a ransom, or else your important information gets deleted. Once you have installed security tools, take time to explore all the options and features. That is one key way to make best use of the software and increase your safety online. Make each password for each site, computer, or cell phone unique or complex. It's not convenient at all for you, but neither is it for a hacker. The first thing most hackers check is the most common passwords. If they are complex, it significantly increases your security and makes it so much harder for hackers. Get yourself a paid VPN and make use of it. A VPN that is paid for allows you to hide your IP address and prevents people from tracking your movements and actions online. When they try to track you, they will only get the information of the VPN company. Avoid free VPN services because they end up selling your information to make up for their free service. Also, their encryptions are really not that secure at all, and you might attract the wrong people to you anyway. Always make sure to use double-factor authentication when it is offered. This will require you to confirm from your cellular device or fingerprint. This adds another security barrier that aids in preventing hackers from getting into your account. It makes having the password on your own completely useless. Make use of passwords even if it is only optional. Again, this adds a temporary inconvenience, but saves you a lot of pain when someone does try and take a chance with your accounts. For example, someone hacking your Instagram might not seem like such a big deal, except that they can ruin your account. If you have a business account, though, they can obtain access to your credit card information. Passcodes act like a major deterrent for people practicing crimes of opportunity. Make use of different email addresses for your different accounts. This allows you to keep your different online identities separate. So, if a person has access to one of your email accounts, they cannot gain access to your other accounts by resetting your password. Make sure to clear your cache and web history regularly, as the internet is filled with bots and cookie trackers. It may cause trouble for some websites when you delete cookies, as it clears all your personalized data. So make a browser list of cookies that should not be deleted, as the majority of browsers allow this. Turn off any and all save password features within browsers. They are not entirely safe. Instead, consider installing a third-party password manager whose entire purpose is keeping your passwords safe, as they are the general experts. Do not fall prey to any sorts of clickbait or phishing scams. Be smart about which websites you visit and where you click. Again, all that certain hackers need is for you to click on the wrong link, and it can come from compromising emails, messaging sites, catchy headlines, or compilation videos. I had time and again received messages with links that seemed to share incredibly scary or good information on Facebook. What hackers did not know was that I was incredibly lazy and never checked my messages on Facebook until late. Normally, I was too lazy to click on the link as well. By the time I had arrived on the site, my friends had notified me of the hacker, and I knew not to respond to the message. I was fortunate then, and I am smarter now. You should be too. Protect your privacy on social media. Social media makes it way too easy to share your pictures, thoughts, and content. Normally, it winds up with you sharing way too much information that both marketers and hackers love to use against you. However, many of these social media sites actually have the capability of increasing your overall privacy. You just need to learn where to look for these options and where to disable certain features to best keep your personal data safe. How to avoid getting scammed. Scammers are generally quite predictable because they fall back on strategies that have a tendency to work. It also makes people far more aware of what to look out for once they know the route scammers and con artists tend to follow. First of all, many scammers love to pretend they are from a specific organization you know and work with. They could even go so far as to contact you on behalf of the government. They may be using real names or make up a bunch of names that sound really official. They even use the technology to change the numbers that appear on your caller ID. The name and the number you could see on the phone might not actually be real, thus why you cannot call them back or trace their number. Scammers tend to either claim a problem or a prize. This might sound very familiar for you, and they might say you either owe some company money or that there is a virus on your computer. Some might go so far as to say you have won some crypto coins or a foreign lottery, or that you have problems with your digital wallet, requiring you to sign into a phishing site. Scammers also have the nasty tendency of pressuring you to act immediately. They want you to act before you think. For example, if you are on the phone, they might just tell you not to hang up so that you cannot go fact-checking. They may go so far as to threaten to have you arrested, take away your business license, sue you, or even deport you. They might say your computer or cellular device is corrupted too. Scammers will require you to make a payment in some way or form. It could be sending money to a company or placing it on a gift card and giving them the number on the back. Some may go so far as to send you a check, and it will be fake, and then require you to send them money back. How to avoid most common scams. Do yourself a favor and block any calls and messages that are not wanted. Filter your text messages. Do not give out any kinds of personal information as a response to any kinds of requests you haven't been expecting. Any legal organization will not expect you to call, email, or even text your personalized information, especially information such as your Social Security or your credit card number. Be sure to resist any kind of pressure placed on you to act immediately. You do not want to fall for a trap, as 5 seconds of information can cost you just about everything. So, remember that legitimate businesses will always give you an appropriate amount of time to make a decision. If you are being pressured into giving any sort of information, then you can be sure it is a trap of some kind. Understand that someone who insists you pay via a gift card or a money transfer service is a scammer, and you should refuse to pay them. You should also never send money back to someone after they have deposited a check. In this day and age, checks are far outdated and one of the most common tactics scammers like to use. If you happen to try and cash the check in, do not transfer any money until the check has been cleared, no matter what pressure is coming in from the other side. If you are suspicious about something, talk to someone you trust. Sometimes they have an unbiased standpoint, and just talking about it can really help people to realize when certain matters are a scam or not. Report any scams you receive to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, in order to make them aware of what is going on. Scammers are especially prevalent in cryptocurrency, so you need to be extra careful when working with the digital coin. Again, sticking to your known coins and not messing with ICO, businesses starting out with new coins, should be your first priority. Second, if people contact you on different platforms claiming to have crypto coins or tips for you, ignore and block them. Strangers do not go out of their way to give people money online for no reason other than that they are a scammer and will then require you to pay a certain fee before you get the larger funds in return. Chapter 10. Understanding your portfolio. Your portfolio is one of the most basic but important concepts in finance and investing. It can have a variety of meanings and terms, but it all waters down to one simple thing: a record of all your assets, including stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency, and more that you or your company owns. A portfolio is a representation of everything that you own and comes from the Italian word portafoglio. There is more than just one kind of portfolio you can own. Different types of portfolios. There are different types of portfolios that are very popular. Each of them have their own purpose. Hybrid portfolio. This type approaches your portfolio with a diversified asset class. Having a hybrid portfolio requires you to have different positions in both stocks, bonds, real estate, and even art and commodities. Hybrid portfolios are required to have fixed percentages of all these different forms of investments and are known to be well diversified. Aggressive equities-focused portfolio. This type focuses on the greater amounts of risks in order to receive greater returns. Risk-taking investors try to seek out businesses that are still in their very early stages at a higher risk of failing and determine whether or not they have the unique value and potential to scale up successfully. They are not common household names yet and still have a long way to go. If they are successful in scaling up, then naturally the rewards that investors receive are greater. However, they are also at a higher risk of crashing, considering that they are still very new to the market and have to fight off a horde of overall competition. Investors really need to be handy with analysis here, as they need to see the potential of a business before everyone else does. Income-focused equities portfolio. This focuses on all the high dividend-paying stocks or other kinds of investments that regularly share out an income. Investors focus here on stocks that are producing high yields and creating a good amount of cash flow. A good example of this would be investments in real estate, considering monthly rent as a form of steady passive income. Portfolio investment. This would focus on all your investment purposes and would either be strategic, where you hold on to your financial assets for extended periods of time, or tactical, where you have to actively work on buying and selling the assets to receive short-term profits. Defensive equities focused portfolio. Your investments would be focused on the consumer's needs. You would be investing in companies that sell items the consumer wants so that it can survive tough economic times. These would be companies that sell products imperatively needed for everyday life. Speculative equities focused portfolio. This has a high level of risk. You would be investing in speculative investments, such as in the initial public offerings, IPOs, where the stocks are rumored to be takeover targets. This normally occurs within technological or even healthcare firms. All it takes would be one single breakthrough to be able to fall into this speculative category. Managing your own portfolio. Portfolios might be considered like a pie, where all your investments would be divided into different wedge-shaped pieces. Consider that most investors allocate certain percentages of their investments to different markets. They want their portfolio to also reflect the right amount of risk tolerance. Although there are different types of investments most commonly seen in portfolios, there are also assets such as art collectibles, paintings, and more that can be qualified as part of the portfolio. Advantages of having a portfolio. You may come to ask whether or not a portfolio is really necessary. After all, you already need to deal with the detailed budgets, journals, and tax documents. So why on earth does there need to be a portfolio? Portfolios come with investing and are one of the modern investment tactics that focus on diversification and the collection of investments structured together. Portfolios act like both a map and a guideline for people to structure their goals and develop the necessary strategies to employ if they have too much risk, which in turn tells the investor to invest in safer assets. Reduction of risk and diversification of risk. The majority of portfolio investments solely focus on reducing the quantity of risks rather than boosting a person's returns. Security analysis allows you to create a more steady platform, and although it might not be so highly focused on returns, you may see yourself suffering less losses and gaining steady rates of success. Having all your investments together can allow you to see how much diversification is needed in order to spread out the risks and how to combine stocks and bonds to counteract volatility. A portfolio is the best way to see your strategies play out and target the necessary flaws within your overall investment plan. Minimal analysis of security. The portfolio investments involve collecting different securities, assets. The overall focus is less on the security in and of itself, but on the collection as a whole. So rather than focusing on an individual person, it is more like how a group functions as a whole. This analysis can make you aware of when the group needs certain changes, especially if there are changes taking place in the economic environment. It might indicate to you that a certain market, such as stocks, is suffering more, but real estate markets are currently doing better. It allows you to see the bigger picture and understand how the group of investments are going to benefit you as a whole. If you do not have your investments in a portfolio, you will only be able to see what your investments are doing for you on an individual basis, not as a diversified unit. Systematic investment approach. This focuses on the long-term strategy of investing, where you start building up your portfolio slowly but surely to reach your long-term goals. You will have to formulate an investment strategy and decide in which markets you want to invest, as well as your total portfolio percentage. Having a visual reminder from your portfolio can tell you where to focus, where to invest next, and when to stop investing in certain assets. A good example would be cryptocurrency. You want to invest around 11% of your assets in crypto, as you enjoy the rewards and do not mind the risks, but as you purchase your coins, you come to see you have now invested 15% of your total capital in these investments. So you decided to pedal back, sell some of your coins, and invest it in stocks. Returning to your portfolio, it is now turned back into 11%, and you can then focus on building up your bonds. Passive investment style. As an investor, you want to avoid the constant stress and worries of buying and selling, as well as the transaction fees. Having a portfolio can allow you to balance or rebalance your investments to minimize the turnovers within your portfolio and make sure that every security is not responding to everything going on within the market. Crypto, for example, would be very responsive to what is going on in the world. On the other hand, commodities, such as gold, won't change radically if the world were to face an economic crisis. What is a portfolio analysis? This is the process of taking a peek at every single investment made and checking out the overall performance of the portfolio. It determines how well your portfolio is diversified, as well as the asset allocation. Analyzing your portfolio allows you to see all the necessary risks within your assets and whether or not changes are needed in order to reach your goals. You may be left with some questions, such as, what does it mean to diversify your portfolio? This means you will be buying and holding onto a large variety of different assets and securities. It acts as a hedge against larger risks, but does not compromise the returns given within your portfolio. What does asset allocation mean? This refers to another part of reducing the amount of risk you have. For example, an investor can hold on to 200 different kinds of securities all within a portfolio. However, if they are all part of one sector or market, then they will still be exposed to systemic risk. Even individual sectors can undergo massive economic blows, which is why diversifying your portfolio needs to extend beyond one market. A good example would be having 10% in mid-cap stocks, 10% in international stocks, 10% in gold, 10% in oil, 10% in cryptocurrency, 10% in bonds, and so forth. What is calculating the investment's beta? Beta is the measurement that calculates the overall specific asset of the entire portfolio. What does it mean that I should optimize my portfolio? It means that you need to check and see whether or not all your investments will allow you to reach your goals. If there is too much attention given to an asset class, for example, then not enough diversification has been given. The investor needs to focus on correcting this situation until there is indeed enough diversification within the assets, successfully reducing the amount of risk involved. Mistakes to avoid when making your investments. In order to achieve a good portfolio, you will need to sidestep some pretty common mistakes made by people starting out in the industry. Some mistakes are avoidable simply by taking a little extra time to make your choices. First, you do not want to invest in something that you have no understanding of. Sure, you want to diversify your portfolio, which means investing in a variety of assets. However, unless you are making use of a mutual fund, you need to understand every asset you're investing in. One of the world's most successful investors, Warren Buffett, even warns people of this mistake. If you do not understand a company's business model, do not invest. The best way to truly have your portfolio diversified is through investment funds. If you do want to invest in individual stocks and bonds, make 100% sure you understand what is going on. You do not want to get emotionally attached to a company. This happens all too easily. Once you understand the company and have been investing in them for years, you kind of forget that you bought the stock as an investment. It would be wise to remind yourself of your original goals in buying the stock. If there are any big indications showing that you need to sell your stock, then you need to sell regardless of what personal feelings could be involved. You need a lot of patience. Lacking patience, especially in regards to portfolio growth, can be a recipe for disaster. The funny thing about portfolios is the fact that they do yield larger returns in the long run. However, if you expect too much, too fast, or too unrealistically for your portfolio, it can hinder your goals and push you to make decisions which you really shouldn't. You may also jump in and out of positions on a constant basis. This is another classic mistake as it can murder your returns. Unless you are a practiced day trader, benefiting from investments that have lower commission rates can only happen if you are not being bombarded with transaction costs, as they do tally up very quickly. You might also attempt to time the market. Being 100% successful in your timing is near to impossible, and even the savviest of investors fail to do this successfully all the time. So, remember that your portfolio's return should be more focused on your asset allocation, not on the timing or the choice of security. Waiting for the chance to get even is another classic profit killer. This happens when you are starting to take a loss and you want to wait for the asset to recover. This is often called a cognitive error and can cause you to lose out in two ways. First, you are avoiding selling a stock that is constantly decreasing and may end up being worthless. Second, you could make up your loss by choosing a better opportunity cost instead. Even if you make a loss here and now, the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Allowing your emotions to rule your decisions is perhaps the biggest mistake you can make in your entire trading career. There is even a factor called trading psychology where it teaches people how to control their emotions and identify the problems with trading so as to avoid them. No one really understands how their emotions can get so strongly involved until they are finally in the live market. The truth is simple. It's going to take a lot of practice to really have a good grasp over your emotions and make decisions based on logic and strategy. We are all human after all, so not expecting emotions to get involved is like expecting to be a robot. AI hasn't taken over the world yet. Mistakes are all part of the process of investing, and being able to identify, correct, and avoid them will help you succeed overall as an investor. Don't expect your journey to be perfect, but if you can learn from your mistakes, then you are setting yourself up for greater chances of success. Conclusion. There you have it. Everything you need to know about budgeting, your credit score, your financial health, and investing. It may seem like a long journey is still ahead of you, and it truly is. There is still a lot to learn about finances. Unfortunately, it's not one of the easiest topics to learn and study. However, the more you are willing to take on and the better habits you teach yourself, the more successful you will be. You have learned the basics of cryptocurrency, including what it is and what you need to start investing in it. Cryptocurrency is not actually a get-rich-quick investment platform, and you will need a lot of time and dedication in order to render your trade successful. In order to trade in crypto, you will have to make sure that your own finances are ready. You have also learned the basics of finances. All the information from credit scores to savings to reducing your debt and building a proper budget can grant you great financial success, or at least help you to survive in the harsh economic world. There is just so much that isn't said or taught in the school system. However, now you possess the necessary knowledge to not only get out of debt, but also use your money to keep growing. With that being said, you have learned some of the most critical information needed to start trading and investing. Although cryptocurrency has been used in some of the top examples, you can apply this information to other forms of trading such as real estate, stocks, or more. Good strategies can stretch beyond one market, and you can practice all your ideas and strategies out on paper trading before jumping headfirst into the live markets. While you are practicing and preparing yourself for more volatile trading, you can start to undertake long-term investments, which are beneficial for your long-term goals, such as saving up for retirement and more. All you need is a small sum of money, a good investment choice, and patience. Furthermore, you also now have a good understanding of brokers and exchanges, the importance of online safety, and how to work with your portfolio. All of these are very important to your overall goals for financial freedom. There is a lot that has been covered, but take your time to apply it. Applying all tricks, habits, and strategies at once can make everyone overwhelmed. Remember, patience is perhaps the most important attribute to have when it comes to your money. Having the patience to wait, save, and avoid impulse spending is essential. You need to have patience to see the best investment opportunities and where a trend is headed so as not to fall into panic buying or selling. I could go on and on over everything that patience can do for you. The sooner you start learning about finances, the better, regardless of your age or where you are in life. Learning new habits is easier than correcting bad habits into good ones. So you will be doing yourself a massive favor. In a world where uncertainty is more prevalent than ever before, having a good handle on your money adds a level of security, especially should emergency situations arise.